So I have had talks with WWE. I was actually, and this is not known information. So you're actually the first
That's
person to
what I
hear
do.
about this.
What up, everyone? SHAK here for Cageside Seats. And you know who this is. She's the mind behind Instinct Culture, and you can find her all around the media landscape. The queen of karaoke and Mazapan One Biter. Denise Salcedo, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I love that you just called me the Masapan One Biter. That's it. That's like my new thing now. I love it. Thank you so much for having me on, Shakiel. Like, it's very exciting when you reached out to me. I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. Let's go.
I love it. You know, this is a great chance. Like, for me, as someone who is not super active on social media because it doesn't feed my soul the way it feeds other people's, I get to work with really big outlets that have a lot of reach. And what better way to spread the love, like all the great people I've met in the pro wrestling media space do, than to, interview Denise Salcedo. It's great for my brand. Hopefully it exposes you to the people who may not be on YouTube and Twitter as much, the more traditional news readers. And honestly, these interviews 11 times out of 10 are way more fun than the fighters I talk to or some of the celebrities who would rather do anything else but chat.
No, I love it. Like, I love to have a good conversation. And I mean, like, I see what you're doing, and it's just so exciting to be able to, talk to somebody that is also, doing something similar, exactly what we're doing here.
And in more ways than like you would think at first, so we'll get to it. But first things first, how cool was it to be at AEW All Out, look out into the audience, and see all the Hollywood Salcedo fans with their signs for you?
So there were two signs that I saw, and I was like, what is this life? What is this? I think like sometimes because, I do so many podcasts, and sometimes though, like I only, you don't see the people when you're doing the podcast, and you only see these usernames. And yeah, I'm seeing the comments come in and all of that. I see the interaction on Twitter and Instagram and all of those social media apps, but to see it in person, it's almost like everything you're doing on the internet, it's like it always feels like it's just online.
Yeah.
But no, it's like real life. Like people are, listening to your podcast, they're responding to that. And so to be able to see that in person, it was just one of those moments that kind of felt like a little surreal, where Connor Casey, who was sitting right next to me, he was the one that was like, he patted me on the shoulder and he's like, Denise, look. And I looked up, and I was not expecting that when he told me to look up. I thought he was going to show me something else. So when I saw like the Mute Denise sign, I was just like, what the heck? I mean, it was just an incredible moment.
That's amazing. And, I don't get it nearly as much as I imagine you do, but it's funny because I remember I was talking to my girlfriend one day. She took a hilarious but compromising photo of me, and I'm like, please don't send that to the group on Facebook because I don't trust that system. And she's like, oh, what do you think? You're famous now? You're too cool for me? We go to a concert the next night and someone recognizes me, and I'm like, I'm telling you, you're going to ruin my life. You're going to ruin your own life. The internet's a crazy place.
Yeah, it happens. It's wild.
So, like we kind of alluded to at the beginning, we have both covered a lot of different things in the course of our young media careers: pro wrestling, entertainment, MMA. For you, what was sort of the eureka moment or the turning point where you're like, okay, there seems to be this real lane in pro wrestling that's open and working. Let's lean into that more.
So Shaquille, I'm sure you've heard this. So I did a lot of training out here in Los Angeles and New York, where I would go to these workshops and be trained by legitimate hosting instructors. And, I would take all the classes and, all of those workshops that they offer. And one of the things that they kept telling us, as I was pursuing this career in entertainment, like I was doing all like the red carpet stuff and the movie junkets, etc. The one thing that they kept honing in on us was like, find your brand, find your brands, find your brand. And I hated it. I hated that word. I was like, stop trying to make me brand myself. I don't know who I am. And I remember one of my instructors would say, your brand is staring at you right in the face. You just need to grab it. And I was like, I tried to do so much soul searching. What is my brand? And keep in mind, I've been a wrestling fan for my entire life, but I never thought that there was an opportunity for me there. So when all of a sudden, people kept telling me like, Denise, you're a big wrestling fan, do something with that. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just kept doing my own thing and, kept doing all my entertainment stuff. And then I kind of just started more opportunities started coming along. And then I started to think, you know what? It really all started with the YouTube channel. Once I started to really pursue pro wrestling on my YouTube channel and then also do the entertainment stuff and mix it all in together, that was really when I was honestly able to say, okay, you know what? I'm really good at this pro wrestling stuff and I care about this so much more than I care about some of the other stuff that I'm doing. And so once I found like this, like, I connected with this like passion of like doing wrestling for work and not just as a fan, that's when it really started to take off. And that's when I really realized, okay, I'm finally on the right path here, but I don't regret all of the other, years that I spent doing all this entertainment work, because if it wasn't for everything that I did, I don't think I would have been as successful in wrestling, because I feel like I incorporated a lot of what I learned from that world into the wrestling media world that maybe some other people weren't necessarily doing. And I felt like I brought that into that world. And so to kind of see how all of that has taken off has been tremendous.
Well, and the beauty too is, I mean, look at Ariel Helwani, who is just like the guy in MMA media, and you reach a certain point where he's now working with WWE for BT. He's getting to do boxing coverage, and so you're young in your career, but I can't help but think it's all gonna come back full circle at some point.
I think so too. And like, that's the funny part though, is, you mentioned WWE, and that was my goal. My goal was to go work for WWE. That was my goal. But as I was doing all of this work to get there, I realized that I could do more. I could do more than just be a backstage interviewer. And all of a sudden, I feel like my dreams only got bigger, and I started to see new dreams come about, essentially, where like now that's no longer, now that I've seen everything else that could come of this like path that I've selected, I feel like I don't necessarily have to have like that one dream anymore. Like now I have multiple dreams and even bigger dreams that I feel can really change my life and maybe bring something different again to the wrestling world.
It's really funny you say that, because I remember talking to someone and they said, oh yeah, WWE is going to pick up Denise. And then not like a week later do I see you on the bump or one of the preview shows for the WWE pay-per-views. So let's go there. Have you had any additional talks with the WWE, or is that something that for you now is on the back burner as you pursue this independent path?
So I have had talks with WWE. I was actually, and this is not known information, so you're actually the first person to hear about this, but I was up for a job with them probably around December 2020. No, wait, yeah. What year are we in? We're in 2021. Yeah. So
I know,
December
it's all blended together over the last year and a half.
It is. It is. Just between December 2020 and March 2021, they had me do a lot of different stuff for them, kind of seeing like where we were going to end up here. And so for about a 6-month period, I was aiming at getting hired by WWE. And it was my dream. I was so excited. Everything was going great. And they ended up going a different direction. And I won't sit here and lie to you. That hurt. And it hurt like hell, because I knew that, and this may sound like not cocky by any means, but I knew for a fact that I was doing something that nobody else was. And I knew for a fact that they made a mistake. When they called me and they said, we love you, but we're going a different direction, I knew they had made a mistake. But I will tell you this, Shakiel, it lit such a fire underneath me where I was like, my dream job just said no to me. What am I going to do? The second I got that no, the day after, because I was sad the rest of the day.
You need a moment to sulk.
Yeah, exactly. The day after, I just went into this mode of do something and do something more than you've done before. So I started reaching out to people. I started pitching myself to people. Within that week, I was having meetings with people. I was listening to job offers, etc. Once you kind of take away this like specific vision of what you want, all of a sudden you start to see this like grand, more opportunities that could come about. And I will tell you, by the end of that month, I had, I'm going to say, about 4 new shows added to my schedule. I had more money coming into my account. And then from there, from March 2020, March 2021 to now, we're in September. I have seen this like growth in my career.
Yeah.
And it was all because of that one moment where they said no to me. And kind of seeing everything that happened since then, it's like one of those things where I'm just like, you know what? I think it worked out for the best, you know? And, you know, I don't know if that opportunity will ever come about again, but I am kind of happy that they passed on me right now because I do think that I can offer so much more than the position I was up for.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I think that's a thing a lot of people get stuck on is super cliche, but when one door closes, another one opens. And when I have people kind of newer to the industry reach out to me, I just say be flexible. Like, have your goal, but I cannot tell you how you're actually going to get there. You may think it's point A to B, but you're going to go A to C, C to 7, cross the country and back before you get to whatever it is you thought you wanted. And by then, it'll probably change. So, that's a clip-worthy moment right here that I'm going to be asking you to retweet because I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear. It's like the people that got where they want to be or headed in that direction got told no a million times. They sat home and they cried. They had a lot of really rough nights. But when you're passionate about something, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going.
Exactly. And now, like, I feel like I'm doing so much more where I feel so happy that these opportunities have come my way. And now I'm just starting to see more avenues of, you know, different paths that I can take, different things that I can do. And I love being freelance. I love being my own boss. I love being a creator. And, you know, I still love that I get to, you know, work with all of these different wrestling promotions. And I almost feel like this. I believe I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. And I'm a huge believer in destiny. I think everybody is destined for something. And I almost feel like I am, after, you know, essentially getting that no from them, yeah. I almost feel like they did me a solid by, you know, finding this other, you know, new direction that I'm going to be heading into, maybe even something bigger. And I do hope to, you know, continue. I do hope to, you know, make some WWE appearances later on in the future. I would really love to because I still want to have that, you know, relationship with them because, you know, at the end of the day, I grew up a WWE fan and that's always been a bucket list dream, but I don't necessarily want to stop doing everything else that I'm doing, you know, like I would love to make appearances for the company, but I would also love to, you know, keep doing what I'm doing. And that's the thing though. That's the thing. Like the second I got that no, it was kind of like, I've been so adamant about like making so much noise that they can't ignore you. And I feel like ever since I got that no, I've just gotten louder. I've just gotten more again, it really lit a fire underneath me. So like you could find there is positives in rejection. You just have to pull it out yourself. And it takes a lot. And you have to have a good mentality and a good mindset and a lot of goals. But if you have those, like, that's the thing. Like one day they'll say like, dang it, we passed on Denise Salcedo. How dare we, you know, but I think that one day they'll, you know, see what They'll I'm trying to put it in a nice way. Like they'll see they shouldn't have passed on Denise Salcedo.
No, they should not have. And let's be honest. And I say this with all due respect to WWE and the great people over there, but there's no shortage of people over the last year and a half that have proven when they get rejected or they don't get what they think they should get from the WWE that they can make a big splash elsewhere.
Exactly.
That is, you know what? Honestly, great time to be a pro wrestling anything. I love where we're headed. So you have been very sassy lately online. And I can see what that WWE rejection did to you. You got your Sean Ross Sapp on recently, called out a hater on your YouTube channel, but that does raise an interesting point. You have to have thick skin when you're going to put yourself out there. How do you sort of balance the standing up to yourself, but also not feeding the trolls element? How do you pull yourself out of it when you find yourself going into that hole? Because it happens to all of us. As much as we all want to say, oh, I never read the comments, I never do this, I never do that.
Exactly. You see, the thing is that like I don't do it often, but there are times where I honestly feel like I have to address certain things because you don't want people to feel like they can step all over you. And that's the thing. As a woman in this industry, there are people that are going to try to step all over me and they're going to try to, you know, watch me fall on my face. Like that's the thing. I'm sure there's a lot of people hoping that I fall on my face, you know? And so I essentially have to always be aware of the fact that just because someone doesn't like me on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
it does not change who I am as a person. Like there could be people, writing, "Oh, I hate her." She's like, I mean, I get it everywhere. I work for multiple channels, and every single channel that I have worked for, there have been people that, they don't like me, they find me annoying, they hate me, they think I'm dumb, they don't think I should be there, etc. But all of that, I just keep working. I'm like, if I let those comments affect me, and this should go for everybody, if you let comments like that affect you, it's going to stop you from living your life. And I don't want to essentially stop living my life and chasing my dreams because of what somebody said on the internet. And yeah, sometimes it gets a little loud and you're just like, okay, you got to like remember that just because someone thinks you're ugly and you're fat and your makeup is messed up, or they think that you're annoying or whatever, very specifics that they get into. What I like to do is I like to think about the people that do like me. I think about the comments that I get from people that are very positive about me. I think about, my family. I think about my friends. I think about my fiance. I think about the people that love me in my life. And I think to myself, I always like, this is so like strange, but this is the way I see things. Like my sister is like my everything, right? Like I love my sister and I love my brothers and I love them so much. I always think to myself, if somebody was being mean to them on the internet, do I want them to get their self-esteem down? I don't want to see that. I never want them to go through that. So then I think to myself, if my grandparents or my mother or my aunts or people that, love me and have seen me grow up all of these years, if they see that I'm being affected by this, it's going to hurt them too, because that you just don't want to see the people that you love essentially be hurt like that. And so I don't let those comments take a power over me, because there's just things that are bigger than that. And it's funny too, because I also get a lot of comments from people where they'll say, "Oh, I didn't like you in the beginning," or "I didn't, I wasn't a fan of yours. All of a sudden I love your shows." And I get a satisfaction from that. I'm like, hell yeah, like, and I don't mind it when people tell me that, because I appreciate the honesty. Like I get it. You don't like everybody instantly. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I like everybody instantly. I don't. It takes a while, we've all been through that. And so like, I don't necessarily find that insulting. So it's just more of like, sometimes I will call people out. I will call people, especially when I think that they're, saying stuff that are just completely outlandish, or, sometimes I'm just in a mood. So I'll be like, screw it. Or if I have a really good comeback, where I'm like, I can bury this person right now, then I will do it. But for the most part, like I'll try to let it slide. You'll see a couple of that stuff every now and then on my social media, but not very often.
Dude, it amazes me the way Sean dunks on people. I'm like, I don't have the energy for this. I don't know how you do it. But it's actually where I want to, as we end here, I want to give Sean and yourself a lot of credit. Like one of the things that has always sort of prevented me from being more active and engaged on social media, and I'm starting to kind of find my audience and my like internet relationships, is just like, I don't like to dig through all the crappy people and all the crappy takes online. It doesn't do me any good. Like you said, I've got a great support system in my personal life, and I'd much rather be spending time with them than engaging with like weirdos online. But Sean over at Fightful, man, the audience he is, the community that he has made over there, so warm, so embracing. It's amazing to me that he was able to, that people were able to come together like that. And same with you, the pizza parties, the signed, the signed autographs and the posters, sending people gifts. Like, I think it's amazing. I wish we had more of this in MMA. We don't. And while there's a lot of icky wrestling fans out there, people like you and Sean have really opened my eyes to all the great people that are in this space. And so kudos for bringing some positivity into all of this.
Yeah, sometimes we can't forget that just because there are a lot of trolls out there, there are a lot of genuine good people out there. And that's what I like to see. And I see it all the time. I see it all the time in my shows, people that tune in, people that leave comments. And so you can't forget that there are a lot of good people and people that are genuinely, fans of yours. And so like, yeah, I try to like give back whenever I can.
Last thing, this time next year, if you could possibly fit it on your calendar, what new heights are we going to see Denise Salcedo at?
I want to step things up. I want to step things up with my shows first and foremost. I want those views to get so much higher. I want my YouTube channel to essentially become a thing where maybe I don't have to work so much jobs. Maybe I can make my YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
one of my main incomes. You know, maybe I could eliminate one of my jobs so that I could focus more on the channel. And I want to make it really something much bigger than even me. So I do hope that I get that opportunity with that YouTube channel. And then I just want to keep like my goal is to be, I want to be a broadcaster on television and some form, shape of way or shape of way. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I probably shouldn't be a broadcaster. I can't even talk anymore. But like, I want to be like, I want to host pro wrestling pre shows and stuff like that. You know, I want to do stuff like that. And I do think that, you know, a lot of times we see I do think we need to see more women too
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like these roles, especially being taken in like as you know reporters and all of that for like sit in interviews. I would like to do something like that as well. So I just want to keep doing that. I want to keep traveling and I want to just keep growing all around. And I want to become one of the top people in wrestling media or and like at least as a personality, not necessarily as somebody that breaks news because I don't do that, but in another shape of way.
Sure.
There's other ways to essentially grow in media.
Well, Denise, I think you're well on your way. And yeah, I mean, I think people will know, but for those who don't, tell them everywhere they can find you.
YouTube.com/Denise Salcedo, Twitter and Instagram at underscore Denise Salcedo.
Okay, listen, if the Hollywood Salcedo gimmick ever dies, I'm telling you, Mazapan One Biter is a winner. So hold on
Hell
to
yeah.
that, royalty free. Denise, thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations. It's been amazing. It's funny, now that you mentioned the WWE thing, I can map the timeline of just this explosive growth. So keep proving people wrong, keep proving good people right, and I'm looking forward to when we can connect again.
Thank you so much, Shaquille. Thank you.